Chapter 2. An early start brings the trio to the ridge, overlooking a small valley formed long ago by mountains rising to meet the sky. Trees cover the slopes and sparkling streams race down to join the cascading river which nourishes the farm fields. A small settlement lies near the headwaters with scattered homesteads lining the flat lands downstream. "What a beautiful little valley," exclaims John. "This is home. You want to see where we live? And this is it," says Greg with pride. "I had no idea such a place even exists. You're so lucky to call this home." Just about then, they all three spot a rising plume of smoke coming from one of the homesteads. "What do you think it's burning?" "That's not your home, is it?" asked John. With a swift jab with the spurs, the riders charge down the slope toward the fire. As they approach the smoke, they can see it is a crude shack occupied by a black family. They were standing huddled together, watching all the worldly possessions being consumed by the fire. "What happened here?" calls out Greg. "What do you care? It's just a bunch of Negroes who don't belong here anyway," grumbles Tom. "You're right. They're still alive, and that's more than they deserve. They think they're free to do as they please, so let them." With that remark, they turn away and lead the blacks to fend for themselves. "Aren't you going to help 'em?" asked John. "Don't tell me you think they want your help. They want our help. Since when did you start thinking like a Yankee? I know it wasn't Negroes who killed my family. They wouldn't have had any reason to, because my folks had no dealings with them, and we never had slaves. Not all Southerners are slave owners, you know, and not all of us hate blacks. You had better keep your thoughts to yourself, as people around here feel differently. If you want to fit in, you had better not stir the pot," adds Tom. They ride off, leaving him to his thoughts. He wasn't sure what to do next, so he urges his horse into a trot and catches up with him. The trail they were on splits off to the north. Tom pull up his horse and says goodbye to the others. "This is the trail to my homestead, John. So, if you ever feel like the need to visit, you'll be welcome. My wife and kids are waiting for me, so I'll see you later. You need to rethink your feelings about the blacks if you intend to live around here." With that warning, Tom trots off. "You come with me. I don't have a family, so you won't be in my way." Greg can feel John's appreciation. They ride through a heavily wooded thicket, which seems to guard a small patch of meadow. Still standing dark and deserted, lurking, is a charming log cabin and several outbuildings. "Well, here we are, home at last. What do you think?" "Looks real comfortable. I hope the critters haven't moved in while you were gone." "Oh, we may have a possum or two, but nothing we can't scare out. After all, I've been fighting Yankees with guns for the past 2 years, so I think I can handle a few unarmed critters." "Let's check it out and get moved in before nightfall. I don't want to sleep on the ground even one more night." Lying in his familiar bed, Greg's mind flashes back to his life before the war. How uncomplicated life was then. Losing the war means the slaves are free. And who knows what will happen now? The Yankees freed them, but it will be our problem. Dawn breaks early in these mountains. Summer is providing long, warm days, and there is much to do. Leaving a homestead for 2 years has taken a toll on the fields, and the building even shows signs of neglect. Greg is thinking it'll be good to have some help for a while, so maybe he can get some of the ex-slaves to help out until you get things back into shape. He shouldn't have to pay them much, since they never were paid before. After breakfast, he and John made a trip into town to buy supplies and hire some help. Local folks meandered between the shops, stopping to buy supplies and visit with neighbors. The main topic of conversation is the hardships they have to endure since losing their slaves. The smaller homesteads are not affected by any large extent, but the large plantations may not survive. The freed slaves also have new hardships to endure now that they have no homes. Many have never been faced with providing for themselves. and are at loss as to what to do next. The general store is the main gathering place for the little town, so if anyone is looking for work, this is the place to hang out. Hi, George. It's sure good to be back. I missed your stories and back talk. George is the town character, short, pudgy, and always dressed in a plaid tobacco-stained shirt. He fills in for the town's newspaper by spreading all the latest gossip. His wife used to have the job, but she passed away a year ago, so now everyone relies on him for the news. I just got home and I'm looking for some help getting my place back into shape. You know anyone who needs a job for the summer? Welcome home, Greg. Who's your sidekick? Sorry to be rude. This is John. He's staying with me for a while. He's going to be helping me, but I need a few more hands. The fields all need work, and the building needs repairs. I need at least 3 more workers for the summer. I also need to stock up some supplies since all my cupboards are bare. I have a little money saved up from the war, but I have to be careful. I won't have a crop this year, so it has to last a while. There's dozens of blacks looking for work. They have been let go from their owners and are just wandering around trying to figure out what to do with themselves. You can go down to the shanty town they have set up and probably find all kinds of help. I'll do that. Now let's get our supplies and load them in the wagon. Tom lingers at home since he has not seen his family in such a long time. His boys have done a good job of keeping the homestead going, but there still remains a lot of chores undone. Lily, have you missed me? Of course, you big galoot. What do you think? Maybe I can do without you? I don't think so. We have a lot of work ahead of us to get this place back in shape. The boys have done a great job, but they're too young to expect them to keep up with all that needs to be done. Why don't you hire on a few blacks? They're without work or homes. It would probably work pretty cheap. You have to be put out of your mind if you think I would have any of those worthless creatures set foot on my property. I understand you don't have much use for them, but now that they're free, they don't have anything to do and they're probably starved. Good, that's just what they need. Maybe they'll move up north since the Yankees love them so much. Maybe I'll mosey on over to their shanty town and suggest they move on. Tom saddles up his horse with Lily all the while, begging him not to go cause trouble. Her pleas fall on deaf ears, though, as he rides out without saying when he will return. Checking his pocket for matches, Tom decides a little fire in the shanty town may just be enough to encourage the blacks to leave. Riding slowly through the thicket surrounding the shanty town, he picks out a target for his plan. A dilapidated old shack stands off to one side of the clearing and should go up in a flash. It will just be a warning as it shouldn't engulf the entire area. He fashions a makeshift torch from a rag from his saddlebags and sets it on fire. Riding swiftly past the shack, he checks it out through the window and disappears back into the thickets. He pulls up and turns to watch his handiwork. Unbeknownst to him, Greg and Jen have entered the thicket behind him. What on earth have you done? Startled, he spins around to face him. What are you doing here? I came down to hire some field workers. John and I need some help, and these guys are out of work. Why are you here? You didn't have to do anything. You don't have anything to do with that fire, did you? Why do you care? If I remember correctly, you don't have any more use for them than I do. That may be true, but I wouldn't have tried to burn them out. What if somebody dies over this? No one's going to die. It's only a warning to them to get out. That's terrible. They aren't doing anything to you, says John. I keep forgetting you're a big softy. You need to harden up if you expect to live around here. Maybe so, but these people haven't done me any harm. John's right. You have no business stirring up trouble. Haven't you had enough fighting? The Yankees have won the war, and we have to live with these people. You don't have to love them, but you can't go around killing them either. Oh, great. Now my best friend has lost his nerve. What happened to the guy who swore to continue the fight no matter what if Lee did surrender? I've had enough fighting. Being home again after so long reminds me of what really is important. my home, and my life. Another thing, this youngster we have adopted doesn't need any more pain in his life. It's time to get on with living. You just go ahead, play it safe and roll over if you want. As for me, I don't plan to let this go. With that, he hits his horseman with the spurs, crashes through the thicket, and heads home. Let's go down there and see if we can hire some help. That fire is about out, so someone will be willing to go to work. The next day, 3 blacks made their way to the Greg's homestead. Unsure of being on their own, they wait on the front porch until he shows himself at the door. Let's go over to the barn, I'll show you what needs to get done. The blacks hesitate, not wanting to go first, so Greg leads the way. By mid-morning, the laborers have their orders and are hard at work plowing the field. The workhorses strain at the harness and the plow turns up the fine, fertile soil. The smell of newly worked ground hangs in the air. Oh, how he loves his home. Over the horizon, Greg spots a cloud of dust headed his way. Wondered who that is. In short order, the horseman closes in the distance between them, and he sees it as Tom. Well, well, well. Are you over being mad already? Let's not get into an argument. You love these blacks, and I don't, so let's not discuss them. I just headed to town and thought I would stop by. Like neighbors do, you know. Glad to see you can be civil when you want to be. How's the boy doing? I see you have him working out there with the slaves. Is that what he is to you, a slave? Of course not. He wanted to help with the plowing, and so that's what he's doing. Is that all you wanted? If so, you could just ride on. Kinda uppity, aren't you? If you ever come to your senses and remember what we fought for, let me know. Until then, I guess our friendship is over. So long.